Hello, this is Kelly Webb with Cenikor Human Resources. I appreciate your time today watching this brief video on Cenikor's culture survey for our managers. Our agenda for today will include a quick review of the survey questions, the rating scale for the answers, a payout of the bonus percentages, and a few examples of good and not so good positive and constructive feedback. The purpose of this video is to ensure that everyone understands the expectations on how to complete these surveys, so that way you don't have them sent back to you and have to have them redone because you haven't reviewed the instructions. So just be sure that you review the entire video and then follow the instructions when you receive the survey. So the purpose of the culture survey is to rate all of Cenikor's management team and provide feedback for their improvement or continued performance on items that are critical to our culture. So honesty in your feedback is important. I'll be the only person reviewing the information to ensure the feedback meets the standards that we're going to discuss in this video, and then I'll collate all the information into one confidential document for the recipient to review. So no names will be attached to any specific feedback that's provided to the recipient. And please try not to self-identify with some of your examples that you leave for feedback comments. If you're a manager receiving survey results, there may be some feedback that you agree with and some that you do not. Regardless if you agree or not, the feedback is being given based on the perception of your teammate or teammates, the perception they have of your communication and or behaviors. So you'll then have to determine how to incorporate that feedback and manage how you're being perceived. Even if it's something that you don't agree with, somehow that's what you're putting out there. So let's go over the questions. Question 1, does this team member consistently add value to meet our mission of service for our clients? Some examples might be, do they maintain focus on their mission during their day-to-day work? Do their decisions that they make, does that reflect a commitment to the mission? And then for the scale, it will be not consistently, meaning probably less than 65% of the time they're demonstrating this behavior. Somewhat consistently, probably between 65 to 85% of the time, and then consistently demonstrates. That would be at least 85% of the time or above. We're all human. We may all have an off day. So certainly we don't expect perfection, but to get that consistently demonstrates, it does need to be consistent. And we've defined that as 85% of the time or above. Question 2, does this team member demonstrate a consistent, positive, respectful attitude with other staff and with clients? Again, same scale, not consistently, somewhat consistently, consistently demonstrates. Does this team member consistently demonstrate self-motivation and perseverance to achieve goals? For example, do they have the ability to think and act without prompting and follow-up from others? Do they have the ability to achieve goals despite setbacks or obstacles? Again, either not consistently, less than 65%, somewhat consistently, or consistently demonstrates at least 85% of the time or above. Question 4. Does this team member consistently role model appropriate professional behaviors for other staff and clients? For example, do they demonstrate integrity, maintain appropriate boundaries with clients, meet deadlines? Are they responsive to requests and emails and phone calls? Do they keep their commitment, adhere to dress code? Do they arrive for meetings on time? If they're not going to be able to make a meeting on time or a phone call on time, do they let you know in advance? So that way you're not waiting. Again, not consistently, somewhat consistently, or consistently demonstrates. And question number 5, last question. Does this team member work effectively as part of the team, engaging and motivating others, helping to set others up for success? For example, do they participate as a team member? Do they provide constructive feedback as well as praise and recognition? Do they offer assistance to support team members, but also know how to stay in their own lane when it's appropriate? Not consistently, somewhat consistently, and consistently demonstrates. So the survey scoring, each question can be worth up to 5 points. So that would mean a maximum score of 25 points per survey and a total of 50 points per year, because we do this mid-year and end of year and total those scores. So the rating, if they get a not consistent, it's 1 point, somewhat consistently 3 points, and consistently demonstrates as 5 points. So a perfect score on a survey would be a 25. So payout. The average score over the last several years that we've been doing this is a 22.83. And if you look on the right-hand side, a score of 21 gets a 90% payout of manager bonus. 23.5, which is just above that 22.83, is a 100% payout of bonus. And then if you take that to 2 surveys, you look at the scores on the left-hand side. If you score 42 for the entire year, let's say you get 21 on your first one and 21 on your end of year, you still get 90% of your bonus. Or you could raise the score and get up to a 47. And so really, the purpose of this survey, the payout is set up to be very generous. It's not about dinging people for money. It's about looking at how we can improve in supporting our culture. You know, if the average score is 22.83, we do still have a handful of people each year that get below a score of 20. So you can see even if you're achieving a score of 18, which is low compared to the average, you still get 80% of the bonus. So again, this is more about getting feedback for improvement and taking that feedback and working with it. So the whole purpose of getting feedback on the core principles of our culture, this is how we're going to help each other improve and how we uphold our culture. And if we do that, it has a direct impact on the environment for our clients and their engagement and treatment. For each survey question, provide both positive and constructive feedback unless the answer is a C, which is consistently demonstrates. If the answer is C, please provide a bit of positive feedback based on, what you've observed with that person that you feel it's important that they know you would like for them to continue to do. Important point here, vindictive, unprofessional, or retaliatory feedback is not acceptable, and it will not be submitted as valid feedback. This is why I'm the only person that has to review these surveys to make sure that something like this doesn't go through to that person. You have to word the feedback in a way that it can be heard, not the way that a person will just completely discount it and shut down. So some examples of non-specific positive feedback. This person is mission focused and decisions add value to our mission. Well, that's for question 1, and the main thing they did there was restate the survey question. Is this person mission focused and do they add value? Well, we need a little bit more specifics than that. Question number 2, this person has a consistent positive attitude. Again, all they did was restate the question, what are some of the behaviors or things that you've seen that demonstrate that? So here's some specifics. This person is very professional and direct when it comes to maintaining focus on CENIKOR'S mission during day-to-day work. She is always willing to give explanations on items that are difficult to understand. She puts the clients and employees first. This person has a very positive attitude even when dealing with a difficult issue or time-sensitive goals. She also asks for opinions on certain items, which makes other staff members feel included and heard. Being able to listen and take into account other people's opinions and ideas help increase morale. Again, doesn't have to be this long, just has to be specific. Some examples of bad constructive feedback, and I put constructive in quotes because it is not constructive. Name calling. This person is just lazy and does nothing to contribute to the mission. Obviously, we're not going to allow name calling in positive and constructive feedback. It's not constructive. Using blanket generalizations or exaggerating. This person is always late for everything. This person never leaves their office. Well, they have to leave their office sometimes. But using these generalizations really just invalidate the entire feedback that you're trying to give. So if you are reading those words in your feedback, go back and reevaluate what you're trying to say and see if there's a way that you can word it where you don't have to use those generalizations. Providing an opinion for which you are not qualified. This person needs to seek mental health services. Something is wrong with this person. Again, this is not the place for that type of feedback. You need to talk about observed behaviors and communication. Providing an opinion based on what you believe the person is thinking or feeling instead of providing feedback on observed behaviors. I think they just don't like anyone on the team. I think they have problems at home. Again, this is an assumption that you're drawing. It may be from behaviors that you've witnessed, but again, this is not the appropriate place to draw that assumption and put it in the feedback form. Put the feedback on what you've observed and what they've said. Examples of good constructive feedback. This person believes in the Cenikor mission, which is reflected in her work. She is very detailed-oriented and expects the best from others. This can sometimes be a fault when it slows the process down. Empowering others to work independently would be beneficial. Example for question 3. This person seems to need more external motivations by her supervisors to work towards goals. This person needs to work on reviewing daily what goals need to be met and then working to achieve those without having to be frequently reminded or followed up with. So the surveys will be sent out from SurveyMonkey tomorrow. They will have the deadline for completion on them. That deadline for completion is also included in the email that was sent with this video link. We appreciate your participation and thank you for your feedback.